Hey everybody, it's Gomedex, and welcome back to another Arena Cube draft. I was going to do another Kaladesh Remastered draft, and then I realized they took Kaladesh Remastered drafts off of Arena, so that's unfortunate. I was really looking forward to maybe doing some more of those until the release of Kaldheim, but I guess we'll just have to hold off with some cubes and Zendikar drafts in the meantime. For now, we're just going to keep the cube train going. So we've got some very powerful cards here, as you always do in cube draft. We've got Talrand, Sky Summoner. We've seen this do pretty insane things every time we've played against it. If you can draft this in a deck with a ton of counter spells, all you have to do really is protect this with other spells, and it's its own win condition in a can there. All you have to do is resolve this, and then if you just counter whatever your opponent's doing, this is going to spit out enough Drakes to win the game all by itself. So I think this card's really strong. I might first pick that because it's something that's also really powerful to draft around. It can go great in a green-blue flash deck with a lot of instant speed stuff, or just in a classic kind of control deck with a lot of counter spells in blue and really any other color. So Talrand's really nice, and that might be the pick here. But there are several other powerful cards based on what kind of strategies you'd want to do. Elspeth Conquers Death is another great control card. Banefire is a great finisher that can even kill your opponent if they are playing a bunch of counterspells. Shatterskull Smashing is nice because it's a land or a big powerful spell in the late game. Lots of fun stuff in there. So pack 2, what do we have? Nothing great to work with Talrand. There's just not a lot of instants and sorceries in this pack. There's a couple sorceries, but Talrand really wants a lot of like instant speed, counter spells, maybe removal and stuff. Maybe Hagra Mauling would be the best card to specifically go with Talrand. Maybe try to do like blue-black, but definitely nothing for like blue-green flash or anything. There's just a kicker spell that can do a lot of things if you pay a lot of mana on it, so you want it in more of a ramp strategy. And just like a fight spell in green that doesn't really combo too well with Talrand. Vizier of the Menagerie seems cool. Look at the top card of your library, cast creatures from the top, and you can spend your mana as though it were mana of any type, so you could do like really multicolored decks there. Phyrexian Obliterator is really cool. You need to be really heavily into black for that though, so it doesn't really go with our Talrand, but in Cube you're going to get enough powerful cards that you can kind of just drop some of your earlier picks. Ashiok is usually pretty good. I think I need to pick something here. I think I'm actually just going to roll with the Hagra Mauling there. It's going to be a fine card no matter what. I really like my MDFCs, modal double-faced cards. Because if we're stuck on lands, we've got that Brood Pit, and if we draw this later in the game, it's just a nice, efficient removal spell. Not that efficient, but decent enough. 4 mana to destroy any creature. What do we have in this pack? We do have a card for green-blue flash. We've got Wildborn Preserver. 2 mana for a 2/2 flash and reach, and whenever another non-human enters the battlefield, you can pay X to put X +1/+1 counters on it. Pretty great card in blue-green flash if you're flashing in stuff like Brazen Borrowers and Merfolk Tricksters, stuff like that. Later in the game, in your opponent's end step, now you just get to dump all of the other mana that you were holding up into making this even larger. So I like this card quite a bit. I think I'm going to pick it here, maybe try to get onto that blue-green flash train with Talrand. There's nothing else incredibly powerful in this pack. I think Realm Cloak Giant might be my second favorite card. It is a Wrath effect, destroy all creatures, and then play it as a nice 7/7 Vigilance to put on that empty board later. So I like that card quite a bit. And the rest was just some decent stuff. What do we have here? Another Wrath effect. Just try to slam a bunch of white Wrath effects. Nothing for blue-green flash here. We have Nessian Hornbeetle, which is for a green deck with creatures with power 4 greater. Illyrios Enraptured is more for kind of a flicker sort of strategy. There's not a ton of stuff that works with flicker, but if you can get Illyrios with Thassa, that's pretty good, because then Thassa is just spitting out another 3/2 token every time you bounce it, so Illyrios might be okay here. We could also take the Watery Grave, just get a little bit of mana fixing, goes into the blue-black deck. There's also Demonic Pact. Let's see. There's 4 different modes on this, so the first time you play it, you get to do 4 to any target and gain 4, and then have somebody discard 2, and then have somebody draw 2, and then you lose the game on the 4th part. I have heard LSV say this is pretty good, but that's literally all I've heard, so I don't even know what kind of deck it's good in. I don't know how many ways there are to get rid of it. It seems... the fact that this could potentially just lose you the game if it stays around too long is really concerning to me, so I'm wondering what kind of fancy ways you have to get around that. So I'm still going to pick that, because it does look fun regardless. But I don't know. We might try that out. We might not. I might wuss out on that one. It's pretty scary. There's a Field of the Dead here, and that's pretty late for Field of the Dead. These really crazy, super multicolored, heavily land-based decks tend to be really good in this format. We've seen tons of Field of the Dead action running around. And I think that would be a fine pick here. It doesn't really go with anything we've picked so far, but it is one of the better cards in the cube, I think, in general. If we're taking something to go with one of our picks, we're not even taking anything that strong anyway. I guess we could take like Gifted Aetherborn or Cruel Reality and hope to wheel that Phyrexian Obliterator, maybe try to move into mono black here. I think that would be the best thing to go with just the stuff we've been drafting so far. Other than that, we're drafting something off. We're drafting Field of the Dead, or we're drafting Lightning Strike to maybe try to do like a red-blue Talrand. I don't know. I think Field of the Dead is going to be the pick there. And Once Upon a Time is going to work really well in a deck with Field of the Dead, as well as being an instant speed spell to work with Talrand if we end up in blue-green flash. So I like that this will go into two different strategies that we might end up being in. It'll work great. As I said, blue-green flash or just green X lands like we would be with Field of the Dead. And nothing else super exciting here, just a bunch of decent stuff. I'm going to pick up that Once Upon a Time. Now we have Savage Stomp, kind of whatever. Verdurous Gearhulk might be pretty good. By itself, it's just a 5-mana 8/8 trample. Yeah, might as well. We've got a couple green cards. Other than that, we're taking a land. I guess we can take that land to go with the Field of the Dead. Maybe move into like Teamer or something. If you are drafting around Field of the Dead, you obviously want to take lands very highly, especially multicolored lands. So maybe one of these lands over the Verdurous Gearhulk, and we would take the one that has green on it over the one that's just white and black. So yeah, I think it's this land or Verdurous Gearhulk here. I'm actually going to roll with the land. Gearhulk doesn't seem that crazy, although it does seem good. So here's pick 8, which means next pick will be our pack 1, which I don't think that's where Phyrexian Obliterator was, actually. I think that was in our second pack, so if it wheels that late, then mono black is open, and we might try to move into that. We're staying pretty open in this first pack, but that's not too hard to do in cube, seeing as you're pretty much guaranteed to get powerful cards later on no matter what. So the modal flip cards are quite good in a Field of the Dead deck because they give you spells or lands, more importantly lands with different names than basic lands to help trigger Field of the Dead. So Spikefield Hazard or Sheltered Thicket would be pretty good here. There's also Fauna Shaman. If we do end up in anything green, Fauna Shaman will be okay. I think in green-blue flash that could be pretty fun. Alright, what do we got here? We have Chainweb Arachneer, or we've got a flip land, or we've got just one of these black cards. If we're still thinking that there's a possibility of Obliterator wheeling. I feel like Obliterator is just such a fun-looking card at a base level that I don't think it's super likely for it to wheel, but I'll take it over this random flip land for the Field of the Dead deck. And if it did wheel, okay. Alright. I was going to say, and if it did wheel, I think we'll just move into mono black. Because here's the thing. I know Field of the Dead decks can be quite strong, and you do want to take these non-basic lands pretty highly, and we've been seeing a lot of them, especially ones that have green on them, which are the perfect ones for a Field of the Dead deck, because you want all of the cards that help you play more lands, stuff like that, and that's primarily stuff in green, like Once Upon a Time and the Dryad. So I think the Field of the Deck would be open here, and it might be the best deck to draft here, but seeing that mono black is also open, and mono black will be an infinitely simpler strategy for me to draft personally, I'm going to move into mono black. That might be the coward's way out, but I just think I'll have a better chance drafting something that I know I'll be able to make a good deck with if it's open, and seeing Phyrexian Obliterator that late, mono black's definitely open. So Field of the Dead is the kind of deck that even if it is open, I'm not personally confident that I would be able to draft it well. So that's where that pick comes from there. And see, like, this Midnight Reaper really late makes that Gutterbones pick fantastic, because Gutterbones, creatures that can come back from the grave, are perfect with Midnight Reaper. So Gutterbones, Midnight Reaper, Plaguecrafter kind of combo together there. So yeah, I think Field of the Dead is super open here. We're getting a lot of these flip lands and multicolored lands late, so that would be great. But I'm doing mono black. It's what I'll be able to understand. And I'm leaving Talrand in here for now, because I technically don't have to go completely mono black here. We just know that at least black is open. Maybe I would still stick to like blue-black, take this Supreme Will here to work with our Talrand. I don't know. We'll see how things go. We've got Archfiend's Vessel or Feed the Swarm. I don't know how many ways there are to bring Archfiend's Vessel back from the grave. Obviously, that's the only time you want to play it, because if you can cast it from your graveyard or bring it back from your graveyard, you get a 5/5 demon, which is quite powerful. Right now, we don't have any way to get things back from the grave, but we could try to stay open to that stuff. I feel like this would probably wheel, though, because I don't think there's that many crazy ways to do things. So it's just like the black removal spell here, or Supreme Will for going like blue-black. Or we're taking something in another color and trying to do maybe Golgari, because we have a few green cards, but our green cards aren't super fantastic working with black stuff, so I think I'll just take the Feed the Swarm here and just really cut black. Well, there's Agadeem's Awakening, which is kind of kind of perfect to work with the Archfiend's Vessel. It is something that'll return it from the grave to the battlefield, and if we don't have that or any other cheap creatures in the grave, we're just playing this as a land. That seems fine. Good stuff in general in this pack. There's the Vraska if we do want to try to do Golgari. With Phyrexian Obliterator, obviously you want to stay as close to mono black as possible, though. Foulmire Knight, Knight of the Ebon Legion, Epic Downfall, just every single one of these cards is something I'd absolutely play. Let's check out what we got in our curve here. We got a ton of stuff at 4 mana. Not a lot of 1s and 2s. I kind of like trying to get off to an aggressive start with a deck that's going to run Phyrexian Obliterator, so I kind of want to do Knight of the Ebon Legion because it's the most aggressive card here. I feel like Agadeem Awakening will probably wheel, and will definitely wheel something out of this pack. At worst, probably Foulmire Knight, but I definitely want the Knight of the Ebon Legion. That could curve into Obliterator pretty well. It's just a nice aggressive early game creature that can also get some +1/+1 counters, and get even bigger, even faster. Now we have Vraska's Contempt, fantastic instant speed removal spell that can get rid of a creature or a planeswalker, so even if our opponent plays your old pal Eugene, that is incredibly hard to beat, you can still get rid of it and gain a couple life. Null Priest of Oblivion. Here's another card that can bring back that Archfiend's Vessel. And God Eternal Bond 2, this is a sacrifice outlet, 5 mana for a 5/6 menace, sacrifice any number of permanents, and then draw that many cards. And whenever this dies, goes back into your library third from the top. So all of these are good yet again. We do have Feed the Swarm, Hagra Mauling. Kind of just have 2 targeted removal spells here, so I do want to take Vraska's Contempt. I feel like it's the least likely card to wheel 2. Again, for our current curve, I do think that Null Priest would look a lot better here, but I think it's probably the least likely card to wheel. Now we have Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose. I don't think we have a lot of life gain right now to combo with that. I'm not sure how likely we are to get a lot of that. We do have Vraska's Contempt to gain 2, Demonic Pact to gain 4, that might be it. Call of the Death Dweller, though, that's another card that will combo really well if Archfiend Vessel wheels, because that'll bring that back, turn it into a 5/5, and this works well with cheap creatures like Gutterbones and Knight of the Ebon Legion, so we could pick up the Call of the Death Dweller, definitely try to move into like mono-black aggro, primarily, rather than control or anything. Easy Phyrexian Arena here, only thing in mono-black. Again, if we do want to stay open to this Talrand, which I don't think we do, I think we're just shoving that in the sideboard at this point, but if we did, we could take Disallow. Other than that, just like a duel or something. Phyrexian Arena is just a great value card. It's an enchantment that basically you're going to start drawing 2 cards a turn instead of 1, because you're drawing an additional card during your upkeep. You're losing a life for it, but that's not bad at all. So here's Ayara. Really difficult mana cost, but if you're at mono black, that's super fine. Just play 3 swamps and then play Ayara. So I think out of every card in the cube, the card I want the most right now after taking Ayara here is Gary, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. That would be absolutely perfect, because now we are picking up some heavily black cards, and now we are just cutting everybody out of black. Hopefully they just drop the color altogether and let us have all the goodies. Pelaka Predation, I do like my double-faced land cards, but this figure might be better. It's just cheap and efficient, gets things out of the ways for our early creatures. We don't have a ton of them yet, but do want to pick up more of them. It's definitely one of these two cards. I'm actually going to take the land card. Maybe I like these too much, but I do really enjoy them. Start to finish in this pack. Does that mean that the Archfiend Vessel's out of here? I thought that was in pack 1. Really weird. I wish my memory were better so I could remember exactly what black cards were in this pack, but I thought there were a few and they're just gone. So that's a little unfortunate, but it happens. I think I'm actually just going to take the duel here just in case. We do have the Agadim Awakening still and the Foulmire Knight. Without... this is a land flip card, and I do love those, but without the Archfiend Vessel, we don't actually really need that many ways to reanimate things. I mean, we don't need any. We can just do them if we want them, so maybe Foulmire here, but... I don't know. If we get enough early drops, Agadim Awakening is still going to be pretty impressive. And I do like being able to cut a few lands. These are all pretty bad. I guess we can take Witch's Oven. I do think that the Cat Cauldron combo is in the cube, and that would obviously be something we'd want to play in Mono Black. We already have some cards that would combo well with it, some Aristocrat-style cards like Ayara. Gutter Bones can keep coming back. Got Call the Death Dweller to bring some things back, some just decent stuff. Alright, let's head into the final pack here, see if we can get some nice payoffs. Definitely looking for some more 1 and 2 mana cards here. Very unfortunate pack to open. There's just literally nothing in black. There is one card, and it is not the greatest in our deck. We don't have a ton of things that come back from the grave, or a ton of token-producing cards to work with that Village Rites, but I might still take that as the pick. Could, of course, just take, like, Thought Erasure and then throw Talrand out here, maybe try to cut out the Obliterator and the Ayara, move back into Dimir or something. I'm gonna put these like back in just to remember that that option is open. I'm just trying to see what other options we would have for splashing things in. Yeah, I'm going to take Thought Erasure here. I don't think we're missing out on anything by not taking Village Rites. Now we have Demonic Embrace and Stitcher's Supplier. How much stuff do I have to work with the Stitcher's Supplier? I don't think I have much of anything that cares about my cards in Grave. I have Call of the Death Dweller, which only returns small stuff anyway, so we're not even getting a huge combo by having stuff in our grave. And then Agadim's Awakening. Agadim's Awakening might be okay, and Stitcher's Supplier would give us another 1-drop to potentially have more cards at the same mana cost to return with the Awakening, so that might be fine. I think Demonic Embrace would be a little more powerful in general, but Supplier could be okay. And if we take a Dimir card here, we're taking probably Shark Typhoon. Actually, I think I'm just going to take Shark Typhoon here, to be honest. I, yet again, don't think we're missing out on a whole ton by not taking the black cards out of that pack. They're just not that fantastic. Priest of Forgotten Gods does work great in an Aristocrat-style strategy, but as I said before, we don't actually have that much great stuff to sacrifice. So I think I'm more looking into Thoughtseize here. That'll be better if we're in Dimir. I don't think there's anything better in blue for the Dimir deck if that ends up being the play. I think Thoughtseize it is. Black Bloom Rogue is literally the only card in black or blue, so I suppose that is the pick. And it's a flip land, so you gotta love that. Alright, eliminate Merfolk, Secret Keeper, Chainer's Edict. I kinda wanna go with the Chainer's Edict. Fill out the 2-drop slot a lot more. We've got like nothing there right now. Archfiend of Ifnir is really fun. If you can get this early in the draft, you can draft cycling and discard cards very highly. Right now, I do not have many at all. I don't think I actually have a single one. I have one cycling card to go with the Archfiend. Obviously, if you do have cycling cards, this card's fantastic. But without them, a 5-mana 5/4 flyer is still good. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Chainer's Edict over Eliminate here. I like the idea of flashing that back later. Maybe getting 2 removal spells out of that one card can be really nice. Eliminate wood combo a little better with Talrand, though. And here I think I'll take the Fetid Pools, get a nice little dual land going. There is Immortal Sun, though. This card is quite powerful. Similar to Phyrexian Arena, you're drawing an additional card every turn, but this does even more stuff. Now your creatures all get +1/+1, and your spells cost 1 less to cast. I don't think either of those two abilities do a whole lot for us, but we also don't have any Planeswalkers in this deck, and this does shut off all of our opponent's Planeswalkers. I'll take the Immortal Sun there. Fatal Push or Liliana. This is the bad Liliana, isn't it? +1 to have each player discard a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. -3, target creature gets -X/-X, breaks the number of cards in graveyard. You want self-mill to go with that. I don't have that. I actually passed up on it. And then the ultimate is good. Yeah, this Liliana does not seem that great. I think Fatal Push will just be better. Now we have Lurrus, Blood Artist, Cry of the Carnarium. Who took Archfiend Vessel? Why did they take Arch if they didn't have Lurrus or anything? I'm so confused. I just automatically assume they must have Lurrus or something that just combos really well with Archfiend Vessel if they're taking that. Inscription of Ruin or Cry of the Carnarium is what I want here. I guess I don't have a lot of Wrath effects, so I'll take Cry of the Carnarium. Or I don't have any Wrath effects. Actually, not true. I have Languish. Now I have Languish and Cry. I think that kicker spell might have actually been better, but for working with Talrand and stuff. But I'm just very confused by how this draft's going in general. I am not going to play Village Rites. There's the Stitcher's Supplier to work with self-mill stuff if that wheels. Now we've got Evolving Wilds, which will also fill our graveyard. I'll take that over Slither Blade. And this is all poopy. Really late Wrath of God. We saw tons of white Wraths in this draft. We did get the Archfiend of Ifnir, so that's cool. We'll have the 5-mana 5/4 flyer at least. Works with the Shark Typhoon. That's fun. I don't want these. I don't want that. Alright, so we didn't end up with the full mono black. And our curve's pretty awkward, but we've got a deck, and we've got some Haymaker cards here, some really powerful things that are capable of taking over the game on their own, like Talrand, Shark Typhoon, Immortal Sun, Phyrexian Arena even to an extent, with some Wrath effects. So let's cut some cards out of here. I think we're taking Obliterator and Ayara out. Don't have a lot of value from sacrificing stuff in this deck. And Obliterator and Ayara are just both really hard to cast if we are going to be playing Talrand, which I think we are. So I need to cut 3 more cards. However, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 non-land cards that can be played as a land if necessary. I think the vast majority of the time I'm going to want to cast Hagrimulling. I'm basically never going to want to play this as a land, so I'm going to just treat this as a spell and then say that this is, let's see, that's 16, 17. This is basically 20 lands right now because, Black Bloom Rogue, pretty mediocre. Pelakka Predations, it's good when you can cast it, but these 3 are all cards I would be 100% fine playing as a land whenever I need to. So we can basically just add those to our land count to an extent. So we go Island out, Swamp out. Then I might want to cut 1 more non-land card here, probably the Witch's Oven. We didn't get anything to really really combo with it. So this would be a 40-card deck where we have potentially 12, 14, 15. We have potentially 19 lands, but obviously 4 of those are flip ones that we're going to get value as non-land spells as well. That seems fine, seems like a good curve and everything, but let's look over everything that we have in this deck, see what the weakest cards are. Maybe we can move some other stuff back in, like Village Rites, I guess. I don't have a lot of options, actually. Let's see. Fatal Push, Gutter Bones, Knight of the Legion. These all seem fine. Stitcher Supplier does not do a lot in this deck. I guess it fuels Agadeem's Awakening a little bit. Chainer's Edict could get into the grave, and then we can flash that back later. It fuels Call the Death Dweller. There's a few things that it could potentially do to the point where it's like, I don't have to cut it. But I mean, it may be worth cutting that for a land. That's pretty much the only thing in our deck that really stands out as potentially just not good enough. Other than that, I mean, the deck seems mediocre, but we can certainly pull some things off. Try to get some good value plays going. I think I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to turn off all of the parallax card styles. I don't really like the 3D warbly effect. I do like all of the alternate styles that don't involve the 3D effect. Like, I really like the Eldraine ones, the Ikoria ones, all of that fancy stuff. But when it comes to that 3D effect, it's just not great for me. Alright, so here's our 20-card Dimir deck. Quite a bit different than our last Dimir deck, because this is this was heavily trying to go mono black for a little while there. I do think with the way that draft went, with the kind of cards that we were seeing throughout the draft, I think the field of the deck would have definitely ended up with something powerful if I knew how to draft that. But that's one heck of a strategy to figure out. And I wanted to do something that's a little more surefire, a little simpler. You can't go much simpler than trying to draft a mono-colored deck. Of course, it didn't pan out, but still. Definitely going to keep this. We've got enough mana for everything but Talrand. We're just going to play Black Bloom Rogue as our first land. Got a Cry of the Carnarium set up if our opponent is on a hyper-aggressive deck. Oh no. We're playing against the Field of the Dead deck. Ooh. We get to see what we could have had. I hope it's a good Field of the Dead deck, because those are pretty fun. And we do have the 4 mana for Talrand now. We've drawn our second blue source, so that is a great draw. Play that, pass turn. We're not going to make them sacrifice their non-existent creatures. Field of the Dead into a Plains and a Sunpetal Grove means they're already at 3 different land names. They only need 4 more to trigger the Field of the Dead, and a treasure map is the next play, allowing them to scry every turn for 1 mana for a few turns, set up their future draws, make sure they get the right lands they need. This is going to be somewhat of a scary start for our opponent. Now, I can play Plaguecrafter just to have my opponent discard a card here if I want. Once Field of the Dead gets active, they're going to have a bunch of 2/2s on board, which means that the sacrifice effect isn't going to be super exciting for Plaguecrafter. But if I cast Plaguecrafter this turn, what am I doing next turn? I guess I just drop down Talrand. Yeah, I guess we just play Plaguecrafter, make him discard a card. It's not exciting at all, but next turn we're incredibly likely to just drop all our mana into a Talrand and try to get that out before we start casting more instants and sorceries. The biggest argument against casting Talrand here is that Cry of the Carnarium is going to be able to wipe their field of all of their zombies, whatever point we need it. However, if we do that with a Talrand out, it'll also wipe our Talrand and all of our Drakes, obviously. There's also the argument of not casting it when our opponent has a bunch of mana up for potential removal spells of their own and stuff. So now they have 4 different named lands: Forest, Plains, Sunpetal Grove, and Field of the Dead, and a Questing Beast out. I can Chainer's Edict the Questing Beast or just drop Talrand. If I don't kill Questing Beast right now, I'm going to 12. And then they are open to have any fighting-based removal. I think I will Chainer's Edict right now. Questing Beast is pretty scary. Just make him sacrifice that. Pass the turn here, and I do have the option of cycling the Archfiend, but that seems like a pretty weak play when we're 1 mana away from casting it as a 5/4 flyer. That'll be pretty good. Mentor of the Meek. Ooh, if they get that Field of the Dead active, that Mentor of the Meek is going to give immense value to our opponent, because now every time they get a zombie, they can pay 1 mana to draw a card off of it. So this is another play where I could Cry of the Carnarium here. If I do that, I get rid of the Mentor of the Meek before they potentially draw any cards off of it. Treasure Map flips at 3 counters. So they get to scry here. Oh, I might want to Cry of the Carnarium here, actually, because they get to scry during my turn. That'll put the 2nd counter on Treasure Map. Once it goes to their turn, if they scry again, that'll put the 3rd counter on it, which will transform Treasure Map into Treasure Cove. That's their 6th land with a different name. And then all they have to do is play any land from their hand, other than a Forest or Plains, and they'll trigger Field of the Dead, get a zombie, draw a card off Mentor of the Meek, and start potentially going off that way. The only issue The only issue with that is that then I obviously don't have Cry of the Carnarium anymore. I'm using it on a single creature. I'm going to do something a little weird here. I'm actually going to cast Archfiend of Ifnir. And if they have another land, another non-basic land in their hand, I'm just going to let them draw their one card from the Mentor of the Meek. Because I actually also have the option of casting Thirst for Meaning, drawing 3 cards, and then discarding 2 cards. Archfiend of Ifnir actually triggers whenever you discard a card, period. You don't have to specifically cycle it. Oh, I disagree with this play from our opponent. Immediately sacking the Fabled Passage. Because theoretically, yeah, they've got the 1 mana up too, so if they just used that 1 mana, turned Treasure Map into Treasure Cove, and then did Fabled Passage, they get 2 zombies out of it instead of 1. And because Treasure Cove's already on the battlefield, it doesn't even trigger the first zombie. See, I think that was a bad ordering for our opponent. I think they could have had 2 zombies out of Field of the Dead. If I'm reading that right, yeah, they'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they'd have 6 lands with different names if they flipped Treasure Cove first. Then they play Fabled Passage, that's their 7th land. They get 1 zombie, sacrifice it, bam, get their 2nd zombie, and then they still have the Elspeth Conqueror's Death. You just cast it after you do that. So that would have worked a little better. However, Elspeth Conqueror's Death is still going to put in work against me. Obviously, our big friend is gone now. I have 6 mana here, so not enough for the Trainer's Edict flashback yet, which is unfortunate. That would be great. This is the only time I'm going to get them to sacrifice a non-zombie with it, basically. However, I can just cast Hagra Mauling before they get more zombies. I could also drop Talrand, but then I only have 2 mana up. That's not enough to do anything. I don't really want them to draw any more cards. So it's another difficult decision here, but I'm going to Hagra Mauling the Mentor of the Meek. That's another position where we could Cry of the Carnarium instead. Then we don't have that for zombies, but then we do still have Hagra Mauling for whatever other creatures they have. Oof, and a kicked Null Priest of Oblivion is going to bring back Mentor of the Meek. Oh, they're going to bring back Questing Beast. That's fair as well. That's certainly a fine option as well. I'm at a pretty low life total. That puts the heat on me pretty quickly. And now they're going to bring back Mentor with Elspeth Conqueror's Death instead. Ooh, boy. Alright, so now my non-creatures cost 1 more. So if I cast Thirst for Meaning or Cry of the Carnarium, that's the only thing I'm casting this turn. And I would just kill a single Null Priest. I guess I'm playing Talrand and Knight of the Ebon Legion. I can't block Questing Beast because its power is pretty high. If I play Talrand and Knight of the Ebon Legion, though, I feel like they're just going to die to a Cry of the Carnarium that I'm going to do in the future, but I don't get hit by Null Priest instead. Do I just cast Thirst for Meaning and Knight of the Ebon Legion takes 6? This is really not a good position here. I'm just going to do the Thirst for Meaning. Talrand and Knight of the Ebon Legion only stop 2 damage anyway, and I'm going to Cry of the Carnarium next turn. Discard 2 cards. I got a couple lands now. And a Stitcher's Supplier. I don't think I need the Stitcher's Supplier. Just play a land and this. That makes sure I have enough mana for Chainer's Edict. Not that it's gonna matter. I could have alternatively just like discarded Talrand so that I could go I could play a swamp instead of an island there and play 2 blockers here so I could block their menace creature. Pretty sure I'm just very dead now. Yeah, I suppose if I was going to have any chance of surviving this turn with what I had in hand, it would have been to block the 2-1 this turn, because if I don't block the 2-1, I'm taking a full 6, and then I don't have any creatures that are large enough to block Questing Beast. So Questing Beast finishes me off for that last 4 damage next turn, even if I manage to kill every other creature they have. Which I won't. Mentor of the Meek's still going to be on the field. Phyrexian Arena. Definitely too late for that. So I get to play Cry, I get to play Talrand. And then I'm facing a Questing Beast and a Mentor of the Meek, and I can't even block Questing Beast. Yeah, super dead. We'll just go ahead and cast our spells. Pass the turn, and take our first loss. Alright, so there goes game 1 for blue-black, mono-black? I don't know what to call this deck. I never know what to call any of my decks, really. This one is a strange one. Clearly did not pan out in that first game. Opponent got a pretty nice Field of the Dead start off, got their 7 for it and everything. And I don't think our deck did a whole lot to try to even fight that off, really. Our deck looking like a real basic deck over here. Alright, what do we got now? This is another hand that has pretty high potential. Obviously, no blue mana, but blue is kind of our splash. We only need double blue for Talrand if we ever draw that. I think I'm going to keep this. We got Agadeem's Awakening. We've got to feed the Swarm up. Languish is only 1 mana away. If we can get an Immortal Sun out, that can potentially win us the long game through all of the extra draws. But there are a lot of great value cards like that, so if our opponent just plays one that's just as good as that, like a Phyrexian Arena or something, we're just we're at parity there. We'll see. We'll see how this turns out. They start off with a white-black duel, and now a green source, playing Abzan. Here's Countless Gears Renegade, just as a 2/2 creature. I could feed the Swarm it if I want, but I've got a Languish coming up. I think I'm just fine to pass turn, drop Phyrexian Arena, and then Languish. Phyrexian Arena should definitely make sure we hit our 4th land. There's a Rishkar, Pima Renegade. They're going to have a lot of mana next turn, which is kind of concerning. I'm going to draw 2 cards here. I need one of those 2 to be a basic land to Languish. Otherwise, I should have played Pelakka Predation. Yeah, I think I slammed that land down a little quickly there. There was definitely an argument for just dropping Pelakka Predation to confirm that I'd have 4 mana next turn. That might have been better. Just drop Predation Pass. Because now there's a chance that we don't have the 4 mana for Languish next turn, in which case we're going to be getting hit for a lot, probably. Alright, nice. They did not tap their cards for mana, so we know that they're not ramping into like a 6-drop this turn, as scary as that would have been. Just play a Palladium Mirror. Very nice. I definitely like them just adding more creatures to this board. If I can hit a land... Oh! Should have Predationed, because now this is really going to hurt. That might even be really close to game, because I'm taking 8 damage now. If they have a pump spell or a Questing Beast, some kind of hasty green or white creature, I'm going to die. Because I'm getting hit for 8, and then Phyrexian Arena puts me to 1 on the draw step. Whew, this is really bad. I can play a Plague Crafter, and then they just sacrifice the Palladium Mirror and I take 6. I can play a Feed the Swarm, but then I'm taking damage to do that anyway. I kind of want to keep my Rogue in my hand so I have another blocker after all this nonsense. I want to play the Plague Crafter first. Just trade off with the Mirror. take 6, go to 4. It goes to my turn, I go to 3, and then I languish, and then I hope to gain life off Vraska's Contempt, I guess. We are in a world of hurt here, though. I saw the play with the Black Bloom Rogue, or the Predation, whichever modal card I had, too late. I slammed that swamp down way too quickly there. Because we'd been a way better position if I just languished that turn. I would be doing great. Alright, so now I can languish. So there's that. I can also Evolving Wilds for an island. Lithoform Engine's going to be scary, but only copy stuff. Like, it copies abilities. Oh no, it copies instants and sorceries and permanents as well. But only when they're on the stack, at least. So they need a ton of mana to copy the instant sorceries or permanents. But yeah, activating triggered abilities and stuff. Okay, so that's pretty scary. But for now, we should be able to languish, survive this turn at least, go to 2. I'm not going to have anything to get rid of that Lithoform Engine in Dimir. There's not a lot to do about artifacts. We do have Feed the Swarm, though, to deal with enchantments, which is kind of weird. That very rarely happens in black. Umara Wizard it is. 4/3. Alright, I'm going to gain the 2 life off of that. Go to 4. 4/5, so I'll have 6 mana here, so I have enough mana to Vraska's Contempt and leave up Feed the Swarm, but that's it. Feed the Swarm's a sorcery anyway, so don't really get to do anything there. So I guess I could play a tapped land here, play the Black Bloom Rogue down. Am I going to need it as a blocker? No, I've got a Hagra Mauling as well to destroy something, and Cry of the Carnarium to wipe. Yeah, let's play the tapped land, because I'm going to want to keep playing lands here. I'm going to want a lot of mana with all this stuff that I have. I'm going to be drawing cards and stuff too. Cast this at instant speed, so they can't have a counter spell, so I know I go to 4 life. Pass the turn. Or maybe I meant at sorcery speed, I don't remember what I said. Cast this just during my main phase. Oh no, Farrakhan's spawn's really bad. Oh, and I cast my exile-based removal first so I could gain the life. I'd be at 1 life if I didn't do that, but it definitely hurts to have this go to their graveyard and be recastable. They exile 3 other cards to do it. They have 3 cards in grave. That definitely hurts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. 7 mana once I play a land, which is enough for Hagra Mauling and Cry of the Carnarium, so I could exile it that way if I wanted. That seems a little much. That costs 6 mana to escape, so they have to dump all their mana into it and play another land. So we can hope they don't draw land here. Just instant speed, Hagra Mauling, and Thirst for Meaning. Or actually, sorcery speed it again, just in case they have a counter spell. Oh, I really wish I had Grey Merchant in this deck. I don't think I have any other life gain here, so I think I'm just dead to rights. Even if I stabilize here, my Phyrexian Arena is going to kill me. Maybe I should have Feed the Swarm my own arena. Oh, it only kills ones your opponents control. I can't even destroy my own Phyrexian Arena, even if I had the life to do it, which I don't right now. Just draw 3. Any life gain? No. Oh, that's scary. Don't like the lack of life gain. I'm going to discard an island, I guess. Or I just discard 2 lands. How likely are they to just dump out a ton of creatures that I need to cry? I think I'm actually going to get rid of Feed the Swarm. I'm never going to have the life to do anything with that. Oh, I'm at 2. Demonic Pact gains me life. Oh my god. Alright, I have a chance again with Demonic Pact. I can deal 4 to my opponent and gain 4 life. So right now, if my opponent does 1 damage to me, I'm going to die. But if they don't, I'm fine. So I could Immortal Sun into a 3-drop. So Immortal Sun into just Knight of the Ebon Legion. But I need to start getting damage out as quickly as possible. Just play Archfiend, and then I have 3 mana up after the Archfiend. So I play Archfiend, I play Knight of the Ebon Legion, and pass. Oh, if they flash in a creature, though, I'm just dead. But I don't have any instants to hold up anyway, do I? I don't have any instant speed spells to hold up anyway. So maybe I actually I wish I had one more mana so I could play Demonic Pact and Archfiend of Ifnir. I kind of really want to Demonic Pact here to gain 4 just in case they have a flash creature. Oh my god. Alright, let's play the Knight first. Okay, it doesn't seem like they have like an instant or anything. Now we'll play Demonic Pact. Oh, that happens as your upkeep anyway, so I don't even get to gain the life immediately. Well, that's a thing. Alright, pass then. Definitely needed to play it that turn then. I should have read that first. I could have died by not playing that immediately. It does not do anything when you cast it. You have to wait till your upkeep to gain the life. That would have been so bad if I didn't cast it that turn. So glad about that at least. I did the right play. Knight of the Ebon Legion and Demonic Pact. Couldn't play the Archfiend in the Pact. Knight was the only other thing I could put on the board with it. There's Farrakha's Spawn. Spend all their mana on that. That does get me to sacrifice the Knight, but that's okay. It's not ideal, obviously, because I am under a lot of pressure to kill my opponent quickly, even with the extra 4 life here. 4 to any target and you gain 4 life. I'm going to do 4 to their face. I could do 4 to the Spawn and then Cry the Carnarium to exile it, but I have a Chainer's Edict here I would much rather do. I can Immortal Sun and Chainer's Edict, but I need to get power on this board, so I think I'm Archfiending and Chainer's Edicting. We will Chainer's Edict first. Make sure that happens. I've got a ton of black. Let's get another island out there just in case. Drop the Archfiend. I don't really want to mill myself right now, but I'm going to die in 5 turns. That's way faster than I'm going to mill out. It's only slightly faster than I'm going to mill out if I play the Stitcher, though. Whatever. I need the extra damage. I need the extra damage. Oh, I did hit a Gutterbone, so I hit a card that actually matters. Because I can bring that back next turn if I hit my opponent here. Demonic Pact is definitely going to make them discard cards this turn. If they still have 2 cards in their hand by my upkeep. Certainly hoping so. They don't have the number of cards in grave to bring back the Spawn. Their Spawn is their only card in the grave. Really don't have the hope. I really hope they don't have enough mana to play a creature and copy it with the engine, because that's when things get really hairy. Vastwood Surge. Oh, and they're going to copy that with the engine. Just get 4 basics out of their deck. Thin the deck out a bit. Make it more likely for them to draw into some creatures to slow me down for my arena to kill me. Definitely seems fair. Maybe the other thing I didn't think about is with the Immortal Sun out, I'm actually going to be drawing 3 cards a turn, so I actually am at heavy risk of milling myself out. I would actually mill myself out faster. Faster than I'd lose to Phyrexian Arena if I play Immortal Sun. So I guess we're just not going to do that right now. We're going to play Talrand and just surveil with the Thought Erasure. Anything they draw, they're going to cast immediately, so let's just get the creature out now. We're going to keep that on top because we don't want to mill. Attack for 6. This could be the last second stabilize here. And the Gutterbones is very helpful. Thank you for milling Gutterbones, Stitcher Supplier. That was pretty much the only thing the supplier could have milled that would help us, but it is helping. It is helping indeed. Alright, I'm gonna grab a water. Okay. They do have enough cards in their graveyard to escape Farrakha's Spawn again now. So I will have to sacrifice my Gutterbones. Just play it again. I'd rather sacrifice that than Stitcher Supplier. I'm down to 9 cards in library. I suppose they are at they're at 10 life. So if I can kill Farrakha's Spawn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 12 damage on board. If I sacrifice this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Still 10. There's going to be 2 of them, though. They got to copy it. Can I kill both? I can't. I can only kill one of them. So now I'm just attacking with the Archfiend in the sky. Archfiend and the Drake in the sky, I guess. Can I just sacrifice Gutter Bones, then? We're not going to kill both their creatures. Oh, I lose the... Oh my god, I lose the game if I don't win this turn. Oh, I forgot about the Demonic Pact. I have so many ways to kill myself here. Oh, no. Oh, I can even Thoughtseize and put myself to 1 if I want to die to Phyrexian Arena instead of Demonic Pact. Oh my god, so I have to win this turn. I don't think I can do that. If I play... Oh god, oh no. So I play this, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. I've got 11 mana. 6 for Immortal Sun, I've got 5 mana up after that. Yeah, I have 5 mana up after this. That's not enough to Chainer's Edict from my grave. So I don't get to get rid of one of their blockers if I do this. Which means I'm just hitting in the sky for 6, 7, 8, 9. No! Oh my god, I'm like 1 damage off. Oh, there was definitely some way I could have snuck in 1 damage at some point and just failed to. Oh no. Midnight Reaper doesn't do anything. If I Chainer's Edict them, I attack with everybody, they block my 2/2, they take 5, 6, 7, 8. They're at 2. Do they have any way to do a damage to them? Just like... Oh no, I lose! I lose to the timer here too. Alright, let's just play Immortal Sun, I guess, and then... I have to just cast everything now. I just lose to my Demonic Pact. Oh, that's so rough. They go to 1. Oh. Oh my god. Oh, do I even mill myself first now that Stitcher Supplier is doing a thing? Oh, Midnight Reaper's doing a thing too. Gives me the last chance. Call of the Death Dweller, does that do anything? Does anything I bring back do a damage when it comes into play? I don't think so. I don't think that does anything. It doesn't. Can I sacrifice an enchantment with anything? I don't think I can. No. Oh, that game was so close. I feel like I could have won that one, and I just missed out on a point of damage somewhere. Oh. That is sad. Alright, let's call the Death Dweller. Plague Crafter. I guess that's it. And then I can just die from Midnight Reaper instead. That was an insane game. Oh, my deck tried so hard to kill me there. All of my enchantments just beating me up. Whew. Oh my god, I didn't even need my opponent to kill me there. I could just do it myself. That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. That was fun though. That was really stupid. Now I've had that experience in Arena Cube. I've had my own deck just absolutely do its best to kill me in several ways. Oh, good lord. Alright. Here we go. Potentially the final round. This might be my first 0-3 Arena Cube draft. Agadeem's Awakening, Pelakka Predation means we have 3 lands here. I'm going to keep this. Chainer's Edict turn 2 if they play something really scary. Fanatical Firebrand is not really scary. So I'm just going to start with the island off Evolving Wilds. Play probably Pelaka Predation next turn unless I need to Edict, which I don't think is likely. Orzhov Enforcer. Now we are absolutely not Chainer's Edicting. I think Eliminate would have been a lot better in this deck. I think Edict over Eliminate was a bit of a bold choice. I just remember liking Chainer's Edict a whole lot because in Dimir Pauper decks it was pretty great, but this is not that. This is not that format at all. Eliminate would have been a lot better. Just be at instant speed, be targeted removal. Seems a lot more viable in this cube specifically. We're against Red Black Sacrifice, so this is the worst possible matchup for all of my sacrifice spells. And there's Dread Wanderer. 2 mana away from Talrand, but I have 2 basics now, so I don't need to play Academe Awakening. Turn 3, do I have any plays? I've got Thirst for Meaning, I suppose. Can also just hold a Fatal Push up. Alright, play a Swamp Pass. Opponent's gonna Thoughtseize. I think Talrand's gonna be gone here then. I can't Thirst for Meaning into a counterspell anyway, so I'll just leave it in hand. If they want to take Thirst for Meaning over Talrand, then that is fine with me. They could be really nice and just hit Chainer's Edict, because then I could still flashback it later. Not that it's ever going to do anything against them. They do choose Talrand. That is definitely the choice I would make. We're going to take that all down to 12. Pretty likely to just get aggroed out here, but I could draw into a Languish or something. Another good reason for not just dropping Thirst for Meaning. I don't think Phyrexian Arena is going to be good in this game. It's just going to be too slow and it's going to be hitting me for a lot, so Phyrexian Arena is a great discard off of Thirst for Meaning, because now I only have to discard the 1 card, drop the island to have our 2nd blue source, and now we play Demonic Pact to gain some life. I think I should just make our opponent discard 2 and then they just have 4 damage on board. That might be the better choice right now. Obviously, I'm likely to just lose to Demonic Pact again, but it's way cooler to lose to Demonic Pact than to lose because my opponent's just getting so much aggro value. So let's see. If they play all of the cards in their hand here, that'll be really sad. Then I'll just have to drain life from them, I guess. But I'd like to get rid of their hand. Taking 4, down to 8. At 8 here, taking 4 again. I guess they have enough mana to weaponize the masses and just kill me with that. It's like, I need to gain life, unfortunately. Fatal Push and Chainer's Edict might be enough to slow them down, though. Let's just still make them discard. Discard a Thundering Rebuke and a land, and now I have Archfiend of Ifnir as the draw. Don't have anything to cycle or make myself discard, though, so Archfiend's probably not going to kill all their creatures. 5 mana is enough to Thought Erasure, Chainer's Edict, and Fatal Push, so let's Thought Erasure their last card away. Hell Rider. Oh my god, I'm so glad I had Thought Eraser there. Feed the Swarm. I can get rid of their Weaponize the Masses with that, but I'm not drawing it immediately. And I'm at 8 already. Just don't think I'm going to have the life to utilize that. Chainer's Edict to just lower the amount of creatures they have for Weaponize the monsters. Yep, and now I'm going to Fatal Push something once they tap out for Weaponize. If they do that. They do not. They do know I have Fatal Push, so... If I take this damage, I die no matter what, because they sacrifice 2 creatures and hit me for 4, so now I have to Fatal Push Dread Wanderer, which puts me to 6 instead. They get to throw Dread Wanderer at me when I target it, and then they get to throw one of their 1/1s at me. So it puts me to 2, but I am going to gain 4 life off of Demonic Pact. And I think their best play here actually is to not even sacrifice a second creature, because then I could Demonic Pact something, and I just know that it resolves. Alright, so I can't Demonic Pact one of their creatures, so I'll Demonic Pact their face to gain 4, make sure I survive. Knight of the Ebon Legion is the draw, meaning I get to play Archfiend of Ifnir and Knight of the Ebon Legion. What creatures are in my graveyard? Talrand. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. I am 1 mana off from Aghanim's Awakening Talrand back. I don't think I'm going to be able to kill them fast enough. They're at 12, so I can try my best. But if they know how Demonic Pact works and they're smart here, I think the play is to just weaponize the monsters at Archfiend of Ifnir. If they don't do that, I have a very slight chance. But I don't think that I win either way, because I just draw 2 cards next turn, and that's the last chance that I have to kill my opponent. They're going to shoot the Knight of the Ebon Legion before it's too big to do that to. Okay. So I guess Bontu was a sacrifice outlet that I could also sacrifice Demonic Pact to, so maybe that's the kind of combos you're supposed to play with it. I think that's like the only thing that I saw that was like really good with it. It's obviously great with like Brazen Borrower too. You can just return it to your own hand and do it all again. Shark Typhoon doesn't do anything to it. None of this is going to kill my opponent fast enough. I can cycle the Shark Typhoon, kill both their creatures, which is fun. Then I get to get in for 5, put them to 7. So I get to bring Talrand back, or I just draw a card off Shark Typhoon. No way to win here. Demonic Pact is going to kill me, but I guess I can go out with a bang. Let's get rid of their creatures, give them a little army. I guess I do have one last chance here. I can Shark Typhoon for 0, so that I have as much mana up as possible, and maybe I draw into something. I doubt I do, but we'll see. That's just a land. So that is game. So, this may have been my first 03 cube draft, but it was a really fun one, because I got to lose the game from my own cards pretty much every time. So that was pretty sick. Wow. Well, that was certainly an experience. That was an absolute experience. That was a cube draft and a half right there. Well, I hope you all enjoyed watching that video. I certainly enjoyed drafting it. I want to see my prizes. Oh, there we go. See what our random prize is here. And as always at the end of the video, I'd like to thank you all again for watching. If you want some more Magic Arena, stick around on the channel. You know where I'm at. I'll be back again very soon for more drafts of whatever form, especially when we get that Kaldheim release coming up January 28th, I believe. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.